Welcome to BL Stories, where romance, drama, and unforgettable boys' love come to life. Love knows no limits, and the best stories aren't always straight. Subscribe now and join our growing BL-loving family. Chapter 8. Leo's Point of View. It felt like a scene from a movie. I imagined a camera pulling back, showing me standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to jump into the crashing waves below. But there was no cliff, no ocean, only me, standing beneath a tree, staring at my phone. He broke up with me. The words echoed in my head, louder than the ringing in my ears. When I was younger, I used to believe ringing ears meant someone was thinking about you. Maybe Derek was thinking about me, but clearly not in a good way. I shut off my phone, but his words lingered, etched in my thoughts. Strangely, I wasn't crying. Maybe because I had already cried too much for him. My emotions were exhausted. I was exhausted. Did I see this coming? In some ways, yes. But not now, not during this trip. I thought these days together would help us heal, help us find our way back. It wasn't about erasing the past, it was about taking a step forward. But now, none of that mattered. I slipped the phone into my pocket and walked back to Nicole's RV. She was inside, probably resting with Jack. I sat on a picnic table outside, waiting. The truth was, the person I wanted to turn to most wasn't Derek. It was my best friend. I was angry. That anger pushed the sadness away, but it didn't make me feel better. Anger changes you, makes you someone you don't want to be. Nathan understood me. He always had. But Derek couldn't see things from my perspective. He only saw betrayal, even though what happened with Nathan had been a mistake. Nothing more. Why was it so hard for Derek to believe that? I checked my phone again, hoping for a text that would take everything back. Of course, there was nothing. Instead, I scrolled through the messages that had sparked this mess. Hey, are you still coming? From Derek's point of view, I could understand why it upset him. But the truth was simple. Nathan's sister wanted to meet me. After years of friendship, I finally had the chance to meet her. Yet, instead of seeing it for what it was, Derek painted me as the villain. Maybe it was easier for him to hold on to my past mistake than to trust me now. When I returned to our campsite, I found my backpack sitting alone on the table. The tent we shared was gone. He was really gone. I touched the cold fabric of the bag, wishing for warmth, for comfort, for anything but this emptiness. Nicole's voice pulled me from my thoughts. Hey, you okay? I forced the words out. He broke up with me. Her eyes widened as she stepped outside. She took my phone and read the message, then sat beside me. Neither of us spoke for a while. There was nothing to say. Derek's silence said it all. I called an Uber, I told her. Where will you go? Back to my life, I guess. Nicole sighed. Leo, I know Derek loves you. He's probably just upset. Don't do anything reckless, he might change his mind. No, I said softly. He won't. She looked at me with worry. Your relationship hasn't been easy. But even when things were hard, Derek never wanted to leave you. Not when you made mistakes, not when he struggled. I know for a fact he loves you more than you realize. But he left me now, I whispered. So, what's the point? Nicole shook her head. Don't carry blame for everything. Derek had struggles of his own. You didn't cause all of this. I laid my head on the table, holding back tears. Pretending not to cry was pointless, but I still tried. I miss how things used to be, I admitted quietly. Nicole smiled faintly. Back when life felt simpler. When the biggest problem was curfews and judgmental classmates. Exactly. She reached for my hand and squeezed it. I love you, Leo. I hope you know that. I love you too, I said, hugging her tightly. When the Uber arrived, I checked my belongings one last time. Nicole kissed my cheek and whispered, Promise we'll see each other more often. I promise. I climbed into the car, holding my phone the whole ride, even though I knew no message would come. Accepting reality meant moving on, and I wasn't ready. This morning we were happy. We were normal. We were together. And now? Now we weren't. At Nathan's house. I chuckled softly to myself as I walked up the front porch. The house looked like the kind of American home I used to imagine when I first came here. sitting in a quiet suburban neighborhood, complete with a white picket fence. This was where Nathan had grown up. The grass looked almost too green, almost unreal, and the brightness of it all unsettled me. Even though it was night, the house still glowed with warm light from the windows. The porch stretched across half the house. I climbed the 5 steps, set my bag down, and knocked on the door, nerves tightening my chest. I had spoken to Nathan's family on the phone before, but I had never met them in person, and tonight, I was in no state to meet anyone. A blonde woman answered the door. Nathan's mother, as I remembered. "Leo? Is that you?" "Yes, ma'am. It's nice to finally meet you." "Oh, come here and give me a hug," Mrs. Crawford said, stepping outside with open arms. Hugging her made me miss my own mom, and for a moment, I wanted to cry. If you can't talk to your mom about life's problems, especially the complicated kind, then you really are on your own. And I had plenty of problems. Come in. Nathan's upstairs in his room." She guided me inside, and I smiled as 2 kids ran past, chasing each other. "Alexa, calm down, we have company. Be polite." "Mom, no one even says that," grumbled Alexa, Nathan's 9-year-old sister. "Do you remember Leo?" her mother asked. "Oh." Alexa froze, her cheeks turning pink when she noticed me looking. Without another word, she darted off. "Are you hungry?" Mrs. Crawford asked. "No, thank you," I said politely, though all I wanted was for Nathan to come downstairs. "Nathan! Cutie Leo is here," she called out. My eyes widened. Did she just call me that? "Leo!" Nathan shouted, bounding down the stairs. He threw his arms around me in an exaggerated hug. "Stop, you're crushing me," I wheezed. "I just haven't seen you in forever. You saw me a few days ago." "Too long, bestie." "You won't have a bestie if you don't let me go." He finally released me, and I exaggerated a dramatic cough to cover the awkwardness of his mom standing nearby, smiling at us. "My sister won't be home until later. They went to the movies, but Mom stayed behind with the kids," Nathan explained. "Why didn't you go with them?" "Because you said you were coming." Mrs. Crawford added cheerfully, "Let me know if you boys want snacks," before heading back to the kitchen. "Why is she talking like that?" I whispered. "No idea," Nathan grinned. "Want to go upstairs and talk?" I nodded. We walked into his room. Not much had changed, it still looked like a teenager space, but not in an embarrassing way. Nathan closed the door, giving us some privacy. The moment I sat on his bed, my chest tightened. The burning sensation in my stomach told me I couldn't avoid the truth. "He broke up with you," Nathan finished gently. I froze. "How did you?" "Your things are here, and you ended a trip that was supposed to last 2 weeks." I figured. I looked down, unable to meet his eyes. He sat beside me and wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Guilt washed over me. The last time things had gotten bad between Derek and me, it was because of Nathan and me crossing a line. And here I was again, sitting in his room, his arm around me, drowning in silence. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked softly. "What's left to say?" "You could start with what happened." Nathan was a good person. His intentions were always genuine, even if life got complicated. I traced the tattoos on his forearm with my finger, stalling. Finally, the words slipped out. "He doesn't want to believe me. I know I made mistakes, but it wasn't planned. I would never intentionally hurt someone. But no matter what I say, it doesn't matter, I just get labeled as the cheater." "I get it," Nathan said quietly. "I know I played a part too. I keep telling myself it's my fault, that I should have stopped things before they went too far. But I didn't think. The hardest part is, I understand why he doubts me. If I were in his place, I might feel the same. It makes me feel trapped, like nothing I do will ever erase the past." Nathan shook his head. "It hurts seeing you both like this. Anyone can see there's love between you two, but something's broken, and it isn't all on you." "But I still made it worse," I whispered. "Stop blaming yourself. It's not fair to carry everything alone." I nodded but couldn't fully believe him. Silence hung in the air until Nathan muttered, "Sometimes I think if I wasn't who I am, none of this would have happened." He gave a small, nervous laugh. Or if you weren't so attractive, maybe things would have been easier. I managed a weak smile. Moral of the story, Leo ruins lives by existing. Nathan gave me a look, and for the first time that night, I laughed. But the laughter quickly broke into anger. I want to say so much, but I hold it back because I'm scared. And now Derek's gone, I can't tell him any of it. I'm not going to text him. I respect him too much. But what about me? What about how I feel? My voice rose, breaking with frustration. Let it out, Nathan urged. I wish we hadn't crossed that line, I admitted. I love you as my best friend, but if I had to choose, I'd choose Derek. Always Derek. That's fair, Nathan said softly. I want to blame you, but I know it wasn't your fault. Nathan's lips pressed into a line. I'm sorry. Don't say that. My voice cracked, the tears finally spilling. Please, don't say that. He pulled me into a hug as I let the first tear fall. Chapter 9. Derek's point of view. I knocked and silently hoped anyone but my dad would answer. He usually worked nights, and the lights inside told me someone was home. After a minute, the doorknob rattled. I leaned against the porch post and smiled. I knew that clumsy turn anywhere. The only 13-year-old who'd lived here for years and still mixed up left and right. Help, Molly said from the other side. You forgot to unlock it, a woman prompted. My dad's wife, Linda, opened the door. Molly shot past her and launched herself into my arms, peppering my face with quick kisses. I hugged her back, laughing. She wrapped her arms around my neck and squeezed. Molly too tight. I know, she whispered. That's for not visiting sooner. Hi, Derek. How have you been? Linda asked, smiling. Good. You? Very good. Come in. Are you hungry? I lifted Molly so I could walk while she pretended to be my personal headlock. She gave up, dropped to the floor, and flexed like she just benched a car. Linda closed the door and confirmed my dad was at work, exactly what I'd hoped. I didn't hate him, I just wasn't here for that. I was here for Molly. Weren't you on a road trip? She asked, leading me to the living room. Taking a break, I said. Want to see the story I'm writing for school? She slid onto the long sofa by the front window, grabbed a notebook, and flipped through pages. Sure. Derek, honey? Linda called from the kitchen. Yeah. Would you like something to eat? Oh, no, thank you. You should eat, Molly muttered, tapping my stomach with a pencil. Anyway, my story is called Where is Molly? She showed me a cover design with bold letters and a cartoon girl looking lost. It's a mystery. Everyone thinks the girl is lost, but actually she's been taken by a not very nice classmate. What? We're allowed to use classmates as characters, and there's this girl who's mean for no reason. So, she's the villain. Is she being mean to you? My chest tightened. Anyone bothering you? No, she's actually scared of me. Why would she be scared of you? Because when she's unkind to my friends, I warn her I'll call out the behavior online. Online? I echoed. Molly popped up, fished a phone from her back pocket, and flashed her profile. Her bio read, 13, asexual, be kind or be blocked, Ashton High, love. Why do you have a Twitter? Aren't you a bit young? Nope. You can sign up at 13. She smirked. Asexual? Yeah. I don't like people like that. Gross, she said with a dramatic shiver. I tried not to lecture. Just be careful. Relax. I mostly talk to friends there. Parents read my texts, so social's easier. I'm telling, I teased. Derek, no. She tossed the phone, straight into my face. Please don't tell Dad. I won't. But if I find out you're doing anything unsafe, that phone disappears until college. I'm not. Promise. I'm a good person. Where's Leo? She asked, peering around like he might pop out from behind a lamp. Not here. Obviously not here, she mimicked. Where is he? He broke up with him. Can we not talk about it? Her jaw dropped. What? I dropped my face into my hands. I know I didn't just hear that, she said, marching in front of me with hands on hips. Why would you do that? That's not your business. Oh, Because I'm not a grown-up? Exactly. I'm calling him, she said, sprinting off. I lunged, but she was too fast. We looped the house while she yelled into the phone, "Leo, help." I finally caught her, ended the call, there'd been a muffled hello, and pocketed the phone. Back in the living room, I grabbed the water Linda had left. Molly sat beside me and pouted. Then her eyes filled. "Why are you crying?" I asked, throat burning. "Because I love you and Leo together. He's family. Why did you break up?" "It isn't working anymore. People change." "That's nonsense and you know it. You two love each other. Work it out. You're too young to understand." "If you say that again, I'm flicking your forehead," she warned. "I understand just fine." "He hurt me, okay? That kind of hurt isn't easy to get over." Leo wouldn't hurt anyone on purpose. Remember when he cried because he stepped on ants? It's more complicated than that. "Ant lives matter," she said earnestly. "Everything has a place. That's why I toss leftovers outside." "Is that why we've had so many bugs?" Linda called from the kitchen. Definitely listening. "What are you talking about?" I asked Molly, completely lost. She wiped her cheeks. "Please don't break up. You two are meant to be." "It's not that simple," I said, irritation creeping in. "Just is. How? If you have problems, talk. Don't you have to solve things together, not like you're on opposite teams. Real love is rare. Be honest. Don't hide feelings. Don't hide thoughts. And if talking doesn't work, get therapy," she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "Language." Linda scolded gently. "Why would I get therapy?" I asked. "Because that's their job, helping people. There are counselors for couples." "I'm not doing that." "So, you're giving up?" I didn't answer. I'd come to see my little sister, not to re-argue everything in my head. I wanted one evening where I didn't think about the mess. At bedtime, Molly went upstairs, school tomorrow. Linda offered the guest room, but I didn't want to wake up to my dad at the breakfast table, so I promised Molly I'd visit more and headed out. I sat in my car for a long time, fighting the urge to call Leo. For once, I wanted to be alone and not make it worse. I'd ended it for a reason. I needed to stay steady. It hurt, more than I expected. Over the years we'd said the word breakup in arguments, but never followed through. Not once had we actually ended it, until I did. By midnight I started the car. My dad would be home soon, and I didn't want to be parked in his driveway. I drove to a small bar I used to visit, not the rowdy kind, but warm and quiet. I took a seat far from the crowd. A group celebrated in the corner. I faced the other way. "Whiskey," I told the bartender when he came by. "Ice or no ice?" "No ice." After a couple of drinks, a soft buzz dulled the edges. Not drunk, just muted. The thoughts were still there, though, what Leo was doing right now, how he'd taken my text, why he hadn't replied. I texted because I couldn't bear hearing his voice. Every time I pictured him, I saw him with Nathan, close, laughing, sharing the kind of softness that used to be mine, and I couldn't shake it. I stared into the glass and tried to breathe. Derek's point of view. We'd only ever been with each other, no one else, so even imagining otherwise made my chest burn. How could he be so careless? Why would he do that to us? I thought what we had was strong and unbreakable. I was wrong. Leo always surprised me, but this was on another level. I don't even know how I managed to be close to him again without thinking about it. If I had, I wouldn't have been able to go through with it at all. Being drunk isn't an excuse. I've handled more than he has and still didn't betray us. "Hey, okay?" a guy asked, taking the stool beside me. I wasn't in the mood, so I didn't answer. "Boy problems?" I turned my head. "Can I help you?" He offered a half smile. "Just a guess." "Sorry." "Yeah. Boy problems. I've been there, more than I'd like. Can I get you a drink?" "Sure. Whatever." "I'm James," he said. "You." I told him my name. He launched into stories. Messy breakups, bad decisions, the kind of late-night confessions people tell strangers at the edge of closing time. Squishy, the scene transition worm. And that's how a guy tried to take my money and, somehow, my heart. James finished with a rueful laugh. Tough, I said, cheek on the counter. My eyelids felt heavy. I had no idea how many drinks I'd had, probably not a lot, but it was enough. What about you? He asked. Got any exes you're not a fan of? Leo flashed through my mind. He'd joke about labels. I never really kept up with all the terms. He used to look younger, lighter. Now he was more college kid confident, more himself, still the person I loved. I must have spaced out because the next thing I knew James was helping me stand. Driving was off the table. I'd have to sleep it off in my car. I tried to tell him where it was, but he seemed to know exactly where to go, talking the whole way. The words blurred. Hey! Someone shouted behind us. I stumbled and hit the pavement, face first. Groaning, I rolled onto my back. 2 men were arguing. James and a shorter guy with quick hands and a fierce glare. The newcomer shoved James away, and James swung back. People spilled out from the bar, phones up, filming. James glanced at the crowd, then bolted. The stranger crouched beside me. You okay? See, I muttered. What's your name? Derivative. That can't be right, he said, steadying me as I wobbled. Eck, I tried again. Derek? Can I call someone for you? He caught my arm when I turned back toward the door. Hey, stop. You're not in great shape. I'm fine. Is it okay if I use your phone to call someone to pick you up? Nope. Come a minute. You don't want to get in trouble tonight. Nope. He sighed. Did you drive? Derek, help me help you. I just kept you out of a bad situation. Do you have social media? I asked, blinking up at him. Huh. I'd let you. I stopped, the words tumbling into nonsense. Right, he said gently, reaching into my pocket for my keys and pressing the fob until a car chirped. He guided me over, opened the back door, and helped me lie down so I wouldn't fall. He lifted my phone. I'm calling someone. There's a heart next to Leo. I'm guessing he matters. No, I blurted. Please don't. Okay, he said calmly, climbing into the front seat and leaning back. Name's Dakota. That guy you were with has a bad reputation. When I saw you like that, I knew something was off. Did you have a lot to drink? Nope. I think your drink was tampered with, he said quietly. I snorted. Nice. Dakota chuckled. So, what brings you to May's bar? Boy problems. Oh, you're gay? He asked, then winced at himself. Sorry, that came out wrong. I didn't expect it. That's on me. I shrugged. I'm gay too, he added. Nope, I mumbled. What? You don't look gay either. He laughed softly. Stereotypes. Not our best habit. The back seat felt weirdly comfortable. Between the fog in my head and the ache in my chest, sleep pulled me under. I woke with a start to someone moving in the front. I yelped. Dakota jerked, hit his head on the door, and tumbled out. As he stood and stretched, the night clicked back into place. The bar, James, the shouting, Dakota stepping in. He'd helped me, maybe saved me. Morning to you too, he said, rubbing his head. His accent was faint, I couldn't place it. Up close, he had a light stubble, clear hazel eyes, and dark blonde hair. Who are you? I asked, climbing out and checking for my phone and keys. Just a guy trying to do right, he said with a grin. He was shorter than I'd thought, maybe 5'6". At 6'2", I felt huge beside him. Thanks, I said. For, everything. You're welcome. Breakfast? What? Breakfast. The thing people do after sleeping, he teased. I don't even know you. Do you know where you are? He countered. In front of a bar without my dignity? You're in one of the friendliest LGBTQ+ neighborhoods around, he said. Which is why seeing that guy here was extra weird. But I guess people meet people wherever they can. A wave of nausea hit. I sat back down, shielding my eyes from the morning sun. I don't feel great. Then let's get food. IHOP or Denny's. My treat. Only if you drive. He lit up. Drive this beauty? Yes. I slid into the back, tossed him the keys, and he drove us to a Denny's with a rainbow flag fluttering outside. Inside, we found a quiet corner. The staff all seemed like kind, retired grandparents, and somehow that steadied me. So, Dakota said once we had menus, "Want to talk about your boy problems?" "Not really," I said, staring at the laminated pages. "What better time to vent than to a stranger you might never see again?" He smiled, lopsided and harmless. "I went to the bar to forget, not to relive it." Fair. Not the first person to say that to me. You won't be the last. It can't be that bad. I broke up with him a few days ago. We were together for over 7 years. Dakota sank into his seat, set his menu down, and exhaled. "I'm sorry. That's a lot. Which is why I'm trying not to think about it. I had a boyfriend once," he said thoughtfully, then cracked a grin. "He just didn't know we were dating." I blinked. "That a show or something?" He stared, scandalized. "You don't know anime? We'll fix that." I probably deserve judgment. He smirked. "So, about relationships, do you see yourself as more of the lead or the support in a partnership?" I managed a small smile. "Depends on the day." "Fair answer," he said, closing his menu. "Let's start with pancakes and see where the morning goes." Chapter 10. Leo's Point of View. The sun still burned even with only an hour left before sunset. Wind brushed my face as I rolled through the concrete park, eyes closed, breathing in the air, until my wheel clipped a pebble and I wobbled. Nathan, trailing behind me, grabbed the back of my tank top and steadied me. He'd been guiding me while I pretended I actually knew how to skate. No one needed to know the truth. "Okay?" he asked. "Yeah." "Sneaky pebble. Were you imagining that Titanic scene again?" "I have no idea what you're talking about," I muttered, even though I totally did. A few skater kids watched us with that look, the one that says they have comments. I lifted my chin. I could be the skater boy. Nathan could be the one who said, "See you later." We made our own soundtrack. "You guys, together?" one called out. I dropped my arms from the faux Titanic pose and eyed them. They were definitely younger than us. "Isn't it your bedtime?" I asked, checking an invisible watch. "We're 16, the blonde one said. I blinked. "Did you say 16? They rolled down a ramp toward us, fast. I whispered to Nathan, "If this turns into a thing, let's just be smart and leave." "They don't look like they want to fight," he murmured. They stopped in front of us and set their boards down. "My brother's gay and too scared to ask my friend out," the blonde one said. "Any tips?" I paused. "I'm choosing not to be offended that you asked me and not my very could-be a sports captain friend." "What? So, you're not here to fight us?" I clarified. He frowned. "Do you want us to?" "Pass," I said. "Okay, first question, is the friend interested in guys?" "Don't know." "Then step 1 is respect and safety," I said. "Pay attention to how he talks about crushes, who he follows, what he's comfortable sharing. If you think he might be into your brother, encourage a real conversation, something low pressure. No pranks. Just honesty." "His dad's strict." "Maybe that's why he's quiet," another added. "That's tough," I said. "Which is why patience matters. Your brother can start with, 'I like you.' No pressure. We can stay friends if you don't feel the same. Keep it kind." They nodded like they were filing it away. "Thanks," the blonde one said, offering a handshake. "Here." He slid me a paper coupon. "Free milkshakes at my grandpa's diner. It's a few blocks away, Derek's Diner." I stared at the name. Wow, that's quite a name. Squishy scene transition worm goes here. "It's actually called Derek's Diner," Nathan said as we kicked up our boards in the lot. Evening had dropped, and the diner's blue and violet lights glowed against the rain. We dashed inside, shivering. "Table for 2? The server asked. She guided us to a big booth, handed over menus. "Drinks." I slid the coupon to her with a wink. She laughed. "2 strawberry milkshakes?" "Perfect," I said, even though strawberries weren't my favorite. It felt right for the moment. She left and Nathan grinned. "You're scaring her a little." "Forgot to turn off my confident stranger setting," I said. "Hungry?" I lifted the menu and accidentally bumped his chin. Curly fries and chicken tenders. That's the kids' menu. And? It's elite. The server returned with 2 perfectly pink milkshakes. We ordered, kids' meal for me, nachos for Nathan. My phone buzzed with my mom's ringtone. Anyway, not many people knew about the breakup yet, but moms find out things, especially if someone posts on social. Mom, I don't want to talk about it right now, I answered softly. Leo, what happened? I'll tell you later, okay? I promise. Where are you? At a diner with Nathan. So, the trip is over? I swallowed. I'll explain later. I love you. I love you. Call me. I set my phone down. Saying X still felt like a splinter under my skin. Nathan leaned in. You're not going to call Molly back? Not yet, I said. I'm trying to breathe through a breakup. Talking to my ex's little sister might be step 10, not step 1. Look at me, he said. I rested my chin in my hands and met his eyes. We stared for a few quiet seconds. Your eyelid fluttered, he observed. Wow. Science. So, how's your non-existent girlfriend? I asked, leaning back. He clasped his hands near his mouth. Leo, what girlfriend? Our food arrived. I poked curly fries with unnecessary intensity and eyed his nachos. You want some, he said. They look very shareable. What do I get in return? My continued friendship. I smiled. That hardly seems fair. Fine, I said, taking one nacho anyway. He reached for a fry. I swatted his hand and gave my best dramatic glare. That was not the deal. We ate, paid, and stepped back into the damp night. For a few minutes, we didn't say Derek's name. But the world kept dropping reminders. We forgot the skateboards, I said. Oh no, Nathan groaned. They're probably gone. Why did we leave them outside? Because we're both a little distracted. Accurate. We cut through an old building Nathan's friends sometimes used to hang out. 5 empty floors, graffiti, busted furniture. We climbed to the roof and sank into a weathered couch. The stars were bright out here, and the lake below pulled the moonlight into a path across the water. I hugged my knees, tracing constellations in my mind. Beside me, Nathan tilted his head back, eyes sparkling in the light. Looking at him made me think of Derek's eyes, how they used to settle me. Derek. Distract me, I said. I forgot my speaker. He said, apologetic. I exhaled and stretched. I hate this feeling. I'm sorry, he said. Please stop apologizing. You didn't do anything on purpose, I said, steady. People don't understand that part. We've gone over it so many times. We're pretty sure that stranger tampered with the drink he handed me. We both had some. And we've had drinks before, never like that. I would never choose to hurt someone I was with. Ever. He swallowed. Because maybe if I didn't, like you, I could have stopped myself. I turned toward him. Liking someone isn't the problem, I said gently. What happened to us wasn't a choice. That's what makes this so hard. We sat there under a sky wide enough to hold everything we couldn't say yet. The wind moved. The lake shivered with light. For a moment, breathing felt possible. Chapter 11. Derek's point of view. This is pretty nice for a studio, I said as I stepped inside Dakota's place. It was small, but the layout and the way he'd furnished it made it feel bright and intentional. To the left was his bed, straight ahead a compact desk with a laptop, then a 2-seat couch, and at the far end an L-turn to a tidy kitchen with the bathroom tucked just before it. Sit anywhere while you wait, just don't touch anything, he called from the bathroom. I sank onto the couch and looked around, wondering what a place like this cost. Definitely less than my apartment. Maybe I didn't need all that space. Maybe it was time to simplify. That's where you'll sleep tonight, Dakota said over the sound of running water. What? No more questionable motels for you. I'd been at a motel for the past week, pricey, not sketchy, and it let me see Molly every day on her spring break. At night, I'd met up with Dakota. We'd hit a couple of bars, talked too late, and laughed more than I expected to. As much as the couch looks inviting, I don't want to intrude, I said. He cracked the door to roll his eyes at me. It's a sleeper. Magic couch. You're fine. I don't know. Dude, it's okay. You won't bother me. You'll save money. Alright, should I grab my things now? Uber's almost here. We'll be late to the party. Promise you'll tell me if I'm ever overstaying. He burst out of the bathroom, pulling on a jacket. I promise. Good. On one condition, you actually talk to me about your boy problems? He said, smirking. I gave him a look. Are you one of those people who tries to fix everyone? No. I just want to know you. Then ask about me, not just my relationships. He nodded, then flopped beside me on the small couch, shoulders bumping mine. While we wait for the world's most dramatic Uber honk, do you have an embarrassing middle name? Joseph. Derek Joseph? His grin widened. Just don't spread it around, I said, half smiling. It's my grandfather's name on my mom's side. That side of the family is complicated. Noted. Next, what were you like as a teenager? Distracted, athletic, moody. Next. He laughed. Are you religious? No. On a scale from musical theater legend to comedy icon, how? I blinked at him. What? He patted my back. It's okay. We'll expand your pop culture references. Fortunately for you, I'm here with a very tasteful social agenda. Like, a party with a lot of LGBTQ+ folks? I asked as we headed for the door. You say that like you've never been to one. When I shrugged, he looked genuinely shocked. Seriously? Parties, yes. This kind, not really. Then consider tonight your friendly intro. Small group, good people, he said as we climbed into the Uber. On the ride, he added lightly, if anyone gets too flirty, just tell me and I'll run interference. You're allowed to have a chill night. Thank you, I said, meaning it. Squishy, the scene transition worm, wiggles you to the next page. The party was indeed small, maybe a dozen people. Dakota introduced me around. The music was upbeat but not blasting. The kitchen held a mountain of snacks. Someone's dog had claimed a corner like it paid rent. The vibe was friendly. Drink? Asked a woman who just finished chatting with the dog. I'm Mia. This is my apartment. Oh, your place? I followed her to the kitchen. I'm Derek. Welcome. My roommate organized it. I usually skip parties, but it's mostly friends tonight. She opened a cooler, pulled a cold bottle, and handed it to me. Do you live nearby? She asked. Not really. My little sister's here with my dad, though. Got it? Families can be layered. She glanced at me, thoughtful. Mind if I ask, are you gay? Yeah, I said, smiling at her care with the question. Ooh, same team adjacent, she joked, pointing at herself. Are you here with Dakota? No, just friends. You don't think he's cute? She teased. I chuckled. He is. And you two aren't together even after hanging out all week? Two people can spend time together without being a couple, I said lightly. Promise. True, she said, hands up. Sorry. Force of habit. Need anything to eat? We've got pizza. I'm good. Thanks. I'm going to make the rounds. Enjoy yourself, Mia said, heading back to the living room. Enjoyment didn't arrive on command. I perched on the couch, trying to settle in. Dakota checked on me a few times, inviting me into different circles. I drifted in and out, speaking when I could, listening when I couldn't. After a while, and a drink or two, I loosened up, though the details of those small conversations blurred at the edges. Mia waved goodnight early. She had work in the morning. I ended up back on the couch, watching people dance and laugh, the kind of easy joy that fills a room when everyone feels safe. It wasn't really my scene, but it was good. And for the first time in days, I let my shoulders drop and simply breathed. Derek's point of view. I can barely keep my eyes open, Dakota said, flopping onto the couch beside me. Sleepy? Not really. Same. He glanced toward the dance floor. Want to join them? Not really, no. My friends keep talking about you, he said with a laugh. They wanted to come over but said you look intimidating, so they chickened out. He tilted his head back, eyes closed for a moment. Then, softer, do you want to leave? No, it's okay. You should have fun. It's not fun if you're not. I'm just not much of a party person anymore. But I won't hold you back. I'll head out when you're ready. Why are you so nice? He asked, his voice almost playful. He opened his eyes again and looked right at me. All the guys here can be harsh sometimes, but you're different. I don't know, I admitted. I never thought of myself as especially nice. Just me. He chuckled. Neutral, huh? That's funny. I laughed with him. Before I could think further, I noticed his friends' curious glances. They're watching us, I whispered. Then let's give them something to talk about, he said with a mischievous grin. Dakota leaned in. I knew what he was doing, but I didn't move away. When his lips met mine, I froze for a heartbeat, then kissed him back. His lips were cool, soft, carrying the taste of whatever drink he'd had. For a moment, the world spun away. Then his friends laughed. Dakota pulled back, eyes clouded with something heavier. He stood, brushed past the group, and disappeared down the hall. It took me a full minute to shake off the surprise before I hurried after him. I found him sitting against the wall, arms over his knees, face hidden. His shoulders shook. Dakota! I crouched down. What's wrong? I shouldn't have done that, he whispered. Hey, it's okay, I said gently. No, it isn't. Is it because? It's not about your ex. He shook his head, still hiding. I sat beside him. Then what is it? Finally, he lifted his face. His eyes were red. Derek, I'm transgender. I blinked, processing. Thank you for trusting me. Tears welled again. I don't mean to cry so much. I just stopped telling people. I stopped trusting. When I came out to some of those guys in there, they stopped treating me the same. Then why stay friends? I asked softly. They're not really friends, just people I've known too long to avoid. The others you met are my real friends. But it's hard to escape old circles when you see them everywhere. Well, it's their loss, I said firmly. You're more amazing than they'll ever realize. He gave a small, tired smile. Thanks. Want to go home? Yeah. We waited for an Uber outside. He texted Mia to explain, at my suggestion. Back at his apartment, the silence was heavy. He unfolded the couch for me, but I stopped him. Let's watch a movie, I suggested. He hesitated. What do you want to watch? Doesn't matter. Honestly, I just want us to relax. Maybe finish what we started earlier, just kissing. Nothing more. He froze, unsure. You're serious? Yeah. Nothing complicated. Just, let's not overthink it. After a pause, he nodded. Okay. We sat together on the couch. At first, the space between us felt wide, even though the couch was tiny. Then I reached for his chin, tilting his face toward mine, and kissed him. It was careful, slower than before. His hand found its way to my side, and the closeness eased the weight of the evening. When I finally pulled back to breathe, curiosity slipped out. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. The accent. He smiled faintly. Norwegian. Nice, I said, then leaned in again. The night carried on quietly. No loud music, no laughter from across the room, just the soft comfort of knowing that, even with everything unspoken between us, we weren't alone. Chapter 12. Leo's point of view. Are you really leaving? I kept packing my things while Nathan hovered over me like a storm cloud ready to block my way out. School starts soon, I muttered, eyes fixed on my suitcase. In a week, he pressed, crouching so I had no choice but to meet his gaze. Leo, I'm sorry. Please don't go. Tears came faster than I could stop them, spilling like a dam breaking. I always tried to stay positive, but this time, the pain wouldn't be ignored. I'm tired, I whispered, my voice breaking. He reached for my arm, but I pulled away. Stop it. Just stop. He flinched, stumbling back at my outburst. I hated that I saw his eyes glisten, as if he might cry too. I had never seen Nathan cry, and I couldn't bear it. I shoved clothes haphazardly into my suitcase, yanked my backpack onto my shoulders, and grabbed the handle to leave. But Nathan moved first, shutting the door and pressing his back against it. What are you doing? I demanded. You were right the other night. he said, voice trembling. I do find you attractive. I don't say it, I snapped, tears rolling down my face. Don't do this to me right now. I love you, Leo. The words cut through me like fire. Rage surged through my chest. I didn't need to speak it, my expression said enough. Please let me go, I managed. It's my turn to say how I feel, he said firmly, his voice breaking. Nathan, stop. I've watched you for years in a relationship that only broke you down. I stood by while you were hurt, while you cried yourself to sleep. I was there when you needed someone to listen, when you needed someone to pick you up again. And the truth is, I fell in love with you while watching you give your heart to someone who didn't deserve it. Stop, I whispered, shaking. My knees buckled, and I sank to the floor, overwhelmed. He knelt too, his words still pouring out. I've seen sides of you no one else has. Not just the sadness, but the laughter, the way your mind works, the real you. And I couldn't stop my feelings from growing. I couldn't breathe. It felt like everyone wanted me to carry more than I could, to be everything for everyone while losing myself. No! I shouted, forcing strength into my legs. I shoved past him, yanked the door open, and ran. I didn't look back, not even when he called my name. I ran through the streets, my chest burning, legs aching, but I refused to stop. The night air was cold against my skin, but it felt like freedom. For the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't trapped. I was running toward something unknown, but mine. When I finally slowed, I realized I had no idea where I was. The quiet intersection felt almost heavenly in its stillness. I walked, then jogged again, losing myself in the unfamiliar neighborhoods, in street signs with names like Donovan that I found strangely comforting. Eventually, I wandered past the edge of town, into open fields lined with cows and fences. The sky stretched clear above me, stars shining brighter than I'd seen in years, twirling beside the pale moon. Hours slipped away. It was long past midnight, and still I hadn't reached another town. The empty road stretched endlessly, quiet except for the rhythm of my footsteps. Then I heard it, the low rumble of an engine. I turned and saw a motorcycle coming closer, its headlight cutting the dark. No cars had passed all night, so the sound felt surreal, almost otherworldly. I stepped off the road, hands in my pockets, counting my steps as the engine slowed. The rider stopped beside me, pulled off his helmet, and shook out dark brown hair. His eyes matched, steady and curious. He looked young, calm, too calm for the middle of nowhere. Without a word, he held out the helmet to me and nodded toward the seat behind him. I froze, processing. Then cautiously I smiled, took the helmet and climbed on. He placed my hands around his waist, making sure I was steady, then started the bike again. As we sped off, wind roared in my ears and tears stung my eyes. Maybe it was the cold. Maybe it was everything I'd been holding inside. But for that moment, I felt weightless, like I was finally flying free. Leo's point of view. I let go of the stranger and raised my hands to the sky, laughing as a rush of emotions surged through me. For a moment, I thought I might fall, so I steadied myself by holding on to him again, but this time my grip was lighter. I wasn't nervous anymore. We entered a new town, with streets lined by cars, glowing windows, and neon lights. Eventually, we stopped outside a crowded little place with motorcycles parked out front and music spilling through the walls. A dive bar. The stranger parked, shut off the engine, and pulled out a cigarette. I slipped off the bike, removed the helmet, and hesitated before carefully placing it on the seat. Unsure if I was meant to follow, I trailed after him anyway. Inside, the bar buzzed with life. Laughter, pool games, people dancing. Everyone looked older, tougher, like I had stepped into another world. I wanted to leave, but when my eyes found the stranger again, I stayed. He greeted someone behind the counter with a nod and a smile, as if they'd known each other for years. Then he glanced back at me, gave a small tilt of his head, and disappeared deeper into the bar. That was an unspoken "follow me." So I did. He led me to a quieter back room where the noise of the bar dulled to a hum. People lounged in groups, smoking, talking in low voices. Here, everyone seemed younger but still older than me. "Hey, Donovan," a girl called out. I blinked at the name. Donovan. The same name I'd seen on a street sign earlier, the name I'd told myself I liked. It felt like fate playing a trick. Donovan didn't respond, just lifted his hand in greeting and snuffed out his cigarette. He walked to a couch by the wide window and sat with casual ease. I followed and sat beside him, unsure of what to expect. He pulled something from a drawer and lit it. Without a word, he passed it to me. His eyes were calm but sharp, almost challenging. I took it, passed it back, and we sat there in silence, trading glances and quiet breaths. As time passed, the room thinned out until only a few people remained. Donovan leaned back, eyes half closed, as if he might have drifted off. I stayed alert, my thoughts still restless, my chest still heavy. Then, his hand brushed my leg, just enough to remind me he was still awake. He stood, stretched, and offered his hand to me. I took it. He led me up a narrow staircase into a small, dimly lit room. A single lamp cast a warm glow across a dresser that held a framed photo of Donovan with an older woman. His mother, maybe. This was his place. His space. He slipped off his jacket and set aside his watch. Something about the quiet in that room made the moment feel heavier, more fragile. My heart raced as I stepped closer, unsure of what would happen next but unwilling to retreat. He turned toward me, and when our eyes met, I felt the air shift. Slowly, I reached out, testing the space between us. Donovan leaned down, pressing soft, lingering kisses against my neck, each one sending shivers down my spine. My eyes fluttered, but I forced them open again. I wanted to remember this, to live in it fully. His lips finally reached mine. The kiss deepened, pulling us back onto the bed, where we stayed close, holding on to each other as though letting go might break the spell. His touch was gentle but sure, every movement filled with unspoken meaning. For the first time in a long time, I let myself stop thinking about Derek, about Nathan, about all the ways I'd been hurt. In that small, quiet room with Donovan, I allowed myself to feel free. When the night finally grew still, Donovan drifted into sleep beside me. I lay awake, staring at the lamp on his nightstand, pretending it was the same pale moon that had followed me earlier. And for once, I didn't feel weighed down. I just felt alive. Chapter 13. Derek's point of view. I'm only staying for, 2 days. Dakota set my suitcase beside the bed and gave me a mock glare, hands on hips. I dropped my 2 backpacks and let out a long sigh. You should get that checked, he said. Get what checked? You sigh every 5 seconds. Very funny, I said, not smiling yet. Is this our first fight? He shut the door with a grin. We aren't even married. The joke hit harder than it should have. I rubbed my temples and sat on the couch. You do one nice thing and you're already talking marriage? I teased back. His jaw dropped. With how much effort I put in, I think I deserve, I don't know, a high five at least. He ducked into the kitchenette. Want something to eat? Or should we order pizza? I'm not hungry. Do whatever you want. He reappeared fully, just to point at me like a concerned parent. You barely... Are you okay? Because I will support you, but you've got to take care of yourself. It's not what you're thinking, I said. I'm just used to skipping meals. Work keeps me moving. That still doesn't make sense. He squinted. So, you take care of yourself by not eating? I cleared my throat. Change of subject. You like how I look? He flushed and retreated to the kitchen. I'm not talking to you, he declared, brandishing a spatula like a tiny shield. I couldn't help it. Teasing him was strangely fun. You don't have to be shy. I obviously liked spending time together. A lot. He peeked out, one cheek bright pink. How much is a lot? I raised my hands. Enough to say I enjoyed it. He tossed the spatula lightly in my direction, then flopped on the bed and groaned into a pillow before rolling onto his back, staring at the ceiling. Can I ask something kind of big? He said quietly. Would you ever be with someone who's really cool and happens to have a different body than you've dated before? I blinked, caught off guard by his honesty. I've never really thought about it, I said. I haven't known many trans people, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. Just be honest, he said gently. If you say something clumsy, I'll correct you. And I'll still like you. I exhaled, shoulders loosening. If I say I'm gay and I'm with you, what does that make me? I know labels can be messy. I just don't want to make you feel unseen. He smiled a little. Labels can help, but they're not everything. Some gay guys are comfortable, some aren't. For me, I'm a man. If someone sees me that way and treats me with respect, that's what matters. Then I'll say this, I replied. I see you as you are. And I liked last night. But I can't promise I'm ready for anything more than what feels right for both of us. I don't want to hurt you. He closed his eyes, then opened them with a brave smile. That's fair. I just worry sometimes that I'll end up alone once people know more about me. That won't be because of anything lacking in you, I said. You're thoughtful. One of a kind. He pressed a hand over his heart, teasing to lighten the moment. That might be the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. I mean it. Silence settled, comfortable this time. I studied him, how easy it felt to breathe around him, how rare that had been lately. I also knew I wasn't fully okay. Not yet. My mind was still tangled up in old feelings, old promises, and the fresh ache of letting go. Carefully, I stood and moved to the foot of the bed. He didn't notice at first. When I sat on the edge, he glanced up, eyes soft. Derek. Dakota. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. I know, I said. And neither do you. I leaned closer. Can I kiss you? He nodded. I kissed him, slow, steady, careful. He drew a breath, then kissed me back. The tension in my chest loosened. It was simple and warm and quiet, a kind of quiet I hadn't felt in months. We paused, forehead to forehead. Can I ask one harmless question? I murmured. Your accent, where is it from? Norway, he said, a small smile tugging at his mouth. Nice, I whispered and kissed him again. He reached over and clicked off the lamp. Sunset poured through the blinds, painting the room with soft orange light. He hesitated, fingers hovering at the hem of his shirt. I caught his hand. It's okay, I said. You're okay. He nodded, and we found the couch instead of the bed, curling up under a throw blanket, shoes kicked off, a movie murmuring in the background. We stuck to what we both wanted. Closeness without pressure, kisses without speeding past our boundaries. When he tensed, I stopped. When I hesitated, he squeezed my hand. I like your laugh, I told him. I like your patience, he said. We stayed like that until the credits rolled. Two people not trying to fix the past, just choosing to be gentle with the moment we had. And for the first night in a while, I let my eyes close without bracing for the fall. Derek's point of view. I pushed Dakota's legs apart and lowered myself closer. He tried to act calm, but I could see the nerves written all over his face. He couldn't hide emotions from me. I'd always been able to read him. Instead of rushing, I pressed light kisses near his stomach, near his sides, teasing him with affection more than anything else. He gasped softly, his defenses cracking. I wasn't an expert at this, I was just following instinct, but I wanted him to feel cared for. Tell me if I'm doing anything wrong, okay? I whispered. He nodded quickly, eyes wide and vulnerable. The room was quiet except for our breaths. He squeezed his eyes shut for a moment, but then let them flutter open again, watching me. His expression said it all. Trust, nervousness, and anticipation mixed together. I held his gaze, brushing my hand over his side to reassure him. You don't have to hold back, I told him gently. If you feel something, let it out. It's just us. Finally, Dakota's composure cracked, and a low sound escaped him. He pressed a hand over his face as if embarrassed. I pulled it down and laced our fingers together. You don't need to hide, I said. Not from me. That broke the last of his restraint. He let out a real laugh through the tears welling in his eyes. You're way too nice, he murmured, almost as if it hurt to admit. I kissed him then, slow, steady, without rushing. The world seemed to narrow to that moment. The press of his lips, the warmth of his skin, the closeness I hadn't realized I'd been starving for. He trembled under me, but he didn't pull away. When we finally paused, I rested my forehead against his. I don't want to hurt you, I said honestly. You won't, he whispered back. Not if you go slow. Just be with me. I nodded, pulling him into another kiss. This time, neither of us held back. Every sound, every breath, every touch was honest. We moved together carefully, awkwardly at times, but the sincerity between us made it feel right. Eventually, he let his head fall back, whispering my name, and I realized how deeply I wanted him to feel safe, with me, with us. My chest ached from the weight of it. When it was over, I collapsed beside him, catching my breath. The room was painted with the last traces of sunset through the blinds, soft orange light falling across his face. Did I do okay? I asked, voice rough and tired but hopeful. Dakota laughed, still flushed, still catching his own breath. You did more than okay. For a first time, that was really good. He grinned faintly. Can't imagine what a second time would be like when I'm not so awkward. A second time would be even better, I said, managing a small smile. He rolled his eyes but leaned closer, resting his head on my chest. We'll see about that. We lay there quietly, both of us worn out but unable to stop smiling. And for the first time in a long while, I let myself feel at peace. Thanks for listening to today's BL story. If it made your heart skip a beat, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Only here on BL Stories, where love knows no limits.